Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the podcast once more. We're back. Weeknight Mysteries podcast is back. We're going to be talking about another interesting case that I guess we thought was worth mentioning again. I'm here with Rain.
Hello, everyone. Happy 2025.
Oh, yeah, that's probably the most important thing to mention here. Happy 2025. Hopefully this year is going to be a good year for all of our listeners, for us included. Let's keep our hopes up. Today we're going to be talking about Dorothy Arnold's disappearance. It's a very old case. Dorothy Arnold.
Yeah, I believe it's one of the classics. You know, the unsolved classics. It happened like way back. Way back.
It happened in 1910.
Mm-hmm.
So it happened over 100 years ago.
Yep, and up until now, it still remains unsolved.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. We're about to jump into it. Okay, so what do we know about Dorothy Arnold's disappearance? Well, Dorothy Arnold herself, she was a 25-year-old woman who was living in New York at the time of her disappearance. She was the daughter of a very prominent and rich man in New York named Francis Arnold, or Francis R. Arnold, who was a senior partner of Francis Arnold and Company, which was importing fancy goods, like mostly perfumes, as I understand, into America. So this family was very rich, or at least well off, definitely. And it was a big case in America because of that reason. Because Dorothy was
basically a socialite. She was a socialite, right?
She was a socialite. It says that on the Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
I think let's go through a little bit of Dorothy's background to see if there is anything interesting or unusual about her. Dorothy Arnold, she was born in New York City in July 1st of 1885. So she was born 2 centuries ago. That makes you think this is one of the oldest cases we ever talked about.
Wasn't it the other? I can't remember. I believe we tackled this case wherein there was a housemaid. So one of the, like, one episode that there were. Yeah.
Hinterkaifeck, I believe it happened, yeah. Hinterkaifeck, oh man, it's a good, I can't, I don't know on the spot. I'm actually gonna Google as we speak when exactly Hinterkaifeck happened. I think Hinterkaifeck definitely happened in the early 20th century. Hinterkaifeck murders. Let me check really quickly, but that's a good point. If it's not Hinterkaifeck, that this probably is the oldest. Yeah, it is, because Hinterkaifeck happened in 1922. So this is a good 12 years after Dorothy had went missing. So
oh wow,
you are correct that it's a old case, Hinterkaifeck murders, which I kind of had an itch to go back to eventually because
that one was also a classic. It's just so creepy.
Hinterkaifeck, yeah. Hinterkaifeck in particular, I had the urge to go back to it, honestly. And maybe some of our audience who are listening to the podcast, if you would like us to kind of delve deeper back into Hinterkaifeck murders, definitely let us know. I kind of want to revisit that case always. It's always fascinated me. Now let's jump back into the topic at hand, Dorothy Arnold's disappearance. Dorothy was the second of 4 children to Francis Arnold and his wife Martha Parks. She had an older brother named John and 2 younger other siblings, Dan and, correct me on this female name because I already messed up so many times, Marjorie.
Marjorie.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, sorry, Marjorie, not Marjorie.
No, I think this pronunciation is better because the last time it was
Marjorie?
you mentioned like marionette.
Marionette.
No, I was like, what?
She is Marjorie.
Marjorie. That should
Okay.
be.
Okay, so another sibling was Marjorie. And Marjorie plays a role in this case. Marjorie was the youngest sibling, I believe. Yeah, she definitely was. And she was her Dorothy's younger sister. And actually, we're gonna go into it a little
How
bit
come? How come she's connected though?
because Marjorie was apparently going to have a debutante party.
Oh, they're one of those rich people. But then again, it happened such a long time ago, so you would assume that they're doing like the balls and.
Yeah, so Marjorie, the younger sister of Dorothy, she was about to do her debutante ball. Debutante ball is basically when there's a young woman from a prominent family, and when she turns, into adulthood, they do a big ball as to kind of debut her in front of the other like rich people. And so maybe I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's
Potential
like,
suitors,
yeah, potential husbands.
or maybe just to flex that. Oh, our daughter turned 18, and we have a lot of money to showcase that.
And that could also be a case. I mean, when you have a lot of money, you probably want to spend it on a regular
Flex.
basis. Yeah,
Yeah.
flex on the other people, right? So once again, I mentioned already that she came from a rich family, Dorothy. Dorothy Arnold was educated herself at the New York Velton School for Girls. So I think the school is just a regular girls' high school.
Sounds like a private school though, like one of those prestigious private schools.
I think I looked a little bit into it, but I didn't. I don't think I found any information. Honestly, I didn't even make any notes about this particular high school, so I probably didn't find anything interesting about it.
Oh, I don't really blame you. It's too old
Yeah.
of a case, I meant.
And after she graduated high school at an all girls high school, she went to Bryn Mawr College. And she attended college in she graduated college in 1905. She graduated with a major in literature and language. After graduating, she began a writing career that didn't quite pan out. She was trying to become a successful writer. As we will go into her, let's say, I don't want to say failures. I want to word
Career.
it. Huh?
No. Career?
No. I want to word it somehow nicer. I don't want to say that she failed a few times. Well, she kind of failed a few times. But I guess not for the lack of trying.
I don't know. I mean, I bet it was also highly competitive. Like the writing stuff back then, literature newspaper. But I'm really impressed about the fact that she actually tried.
She tried, but
She finished education.
that's true. That's
She
true.
like applied as a writer, I believe.
Well, she did have all the opportunities in the world as well.
Yeah, like to stay at home, be pretty, and just like hang out
Hang out.
with all
Yeah.
that money. Sorry, I would personally do the same thing. No, not the same thing
No,
as she
but
did.
she also did something. She tried to become a writer.
Exactly. I would never do that if I'm super rich.
However, we don't know exactly what Dorothy Arnold was up to from the time when she graduated all to the time when she disappeared. Because those two, I'm going to probably jump in front of the timeline here. Later on in the timeline, shortly before Dorothy disappears, she had submitted a couple of short stories to a McClure's magazine, which was a magazine in America at the time that I think published maybe short stories and things of that nature. So she got denied twice by the magazine when she sent her, short stories. But that happened in 1910. We don't know exactly what happened from 1905, from the time when she graduated with a major, up to 1910. So we don't know if she wrote more books, more stories. What exactly was she doing for those 5 years before she disappeared? So from the age of 20 to the age of 25, we don't really know much information. And honestly, there's not much information around. And I think maybe I'm looking even too deep into it. It could be
Yeah.
it could be just a simple case of, her maturing into her writing
Oh, come on,
career,
she's rich. She's probably like, I don't know, vacationing somewhere.
vacationing,
Yeah, didn't really
shopping,
write it down or anything.
attending balls and stuff,
Do you think we're missing crucial information though?
No, I don't. You know why? Because I could see myself in that situation as well, like from the age of 20 to like the age of 25. Personally, I also didn't do much. I really was, personally, I was like a pretty lazy kid, and I wasn't doing much. I really wasn't doing much. And
Yeah.
now I look back at my like early 20s and I'm thinking, man, what
It's normal.
it's normal. It's normal to waste your early 20s, at least in my opinion, because I didn't want to do anything. I was lazy. So I think maybe she was just growing
Herself.
into herself, because I mean, what can a 20-year-old realistically write about to interest the whole society as a whole? You probably have absolutely no like life experience to
And a rich
interest.
kid at that.
You're a rich kid, a very sheltered rich kid. What can you bring to the table for the reader? Probably not much, right? So I think maybe she just developed into it.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we have no idea what happened, but it seems like nothing really, too devastating that happened, or at least
Nothing notable.
very good way that you put it. Nothing notable has happened in that particular time. But now let's jump to 1910, when things really kind of start going down here. Okay, so I think let's start with the spring of 1910. The spring. Okay, so Dorothy submitted her first short story to McClure's magazine, and it was rejected. We don't know exactly what she was doing from spring all throughout the summer of 1910. There's not really a lot of information. But in November of that same year, so around 6 months after her first rejection, she submits a second short story to the McClure's magazine, which once again gets rejected. So it was apparently pretty devastating for Dorothy. And another interesting point to mention here, I wasn't able to pinpoint whether this next action happened before or after the second rejection by the McClure's magazine, but Dorothy asked her father if she could take an apartment in Greenwich Village in order to write. Greenwich Village is within New York. It's like a neighborhood in New York.
Is it a fancy neighborhood?
I think so. I think so. I think it's like a nice kind of like.
On the nicer side.
I think it's nice. As far as I'm not familiar with New York that much, but I've heard about it before, so I would assume it's pretty nice. Either way, her father was apparently furious.
What? With all that money? Come on, Dad. It's just an apartment.
He said a good writer should be able to write anywhere. And,
That is true.
And Francis, her father, the rich guy, he was 72. And I don't know much about him, but I picture him as a no-nonsense type of a business guy. So I could see him kind of just rejecting that idea because, he was all about the business. He was all about the money. And he maybe looked at Dorothy's request as, I think financially, perhaps they could have done it, given her an apartment. But I think he was looking at it like, no, I think maybe he didn't believe in Dorothy.
Sounds like it.
Do you get the vibes that he didn't believe in Dorothy?
Yes, I do actually. I do agree with him though, but at the same time, actually now I'm thinking about it, sounds like Dorothy could be a little bit of a spoiled, really sheltered.
Everyone is spoiled, and of course, I mean, she's like the cream of the crop in New York.
That's true.
I mean, how much spoiled, or like not necessarily spoiled, but how much sheltered from the real world.
Hey, Dad, I need an apartment in a nicer part of New York.
Who does that?
To write.
Who does? I mean, come on, that's
Oh,
crazy.
jeez.
That's really crazy. I mean, honestly, I know it's gonna sound bad, but I'm kind of with Francis on this one. It seems like
Nah, I think
too much to
Dorothy.
give,
Yeah, definitely. I think Dorothy was just a growing, extremely sheltered adult.
Right.
Sheltered.
That's what we know. We
Yeah,
don't know exactly what Dorothy was all about, right?
definitely.
All right. So Dorothy disappeared in December, specifically on December 12th in 1910. So a good, actually, even 2 weeks before, even less than 2 weeks before Christmas. So it's New York. It's cold. December in New York is cold. It's kind of I always kind of like assumed in Lithuania we got New York weather. We
Actually, thinking about it, yeah.
I think we got like less windy New York weather because we're like more inland. We're not right next to the ocean like New York. So I feel like we have a similar New York weather.
But probably Western Lithuania has more of a similar vibe. Because, sea regulates the temperature a little bit.
Yeah, potentially. But why I'm mentioning this, not because anyone actually cares about this, but because we can probably figure that December was pretty cold.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, actually.
December was pretty cold. Like December in New York is a cold time, so I think and it's icy. It was icy. It was slippery.
You think so?
I know so.
Okay.
I read it. It was mentioned that it was icy. And the waterways were all frozen. So it was a cold December day in New York City, December 12th. It was a
Out
Monday.
of the topic. Sorry, out of topic.
Course.
I'm just assuming it looks very pretty. Maybe.
What, New York? Of course. I bet. So the day started off apparently fairly normally for Dorothy. She told her mother that she was going shopping for a dress to wear to her younger sister's Marjorie's debutante's party.
And when was the party supposed to be?
I don't know, but I presume in the next few days or few weeks, shortly.
Probably a few weeks.
Because you don't want to buy a dress a few days, because then
I think so, yeah.
Maybe it was even like a New Year's or whatever.
It feels a little too rushed if it's like a couple of days before.
I agree with that one. Her mother, Mary, actually offered to go with Dorothy, but Dorothy specifically declines. On the day when she vanishes, she specifically declines. Her mother's
Invitation to go?
invitation to go with her, yeah, she declines. So Dorothy leaves the family home around 11 p.m.
11 p.m.
Sorry, I'm stupid. 11 a.m.
Oh, okay.
She leaves around 11 a.m. before noon. She has around $20 to $30 in back in the day money, which is close to $1,000 in today's money.
It's pretty funny actually, because when I was reading into this, I was like, oh, $30. Not much for a rich person.
I mean, we got that on us. You know what I'm saying?
Today, yeah.
Like I got like 25 on me, but I'm not.
Once
asking.
converted, it was like, okay, yeah, no, I don't.
No,
have it.
I don't carry a stack on me like that. You know what I mean?
That is so random to carry on a random day.
A G. You have a G on you.
Oh, I just have $30.
Yeah.
What?
No, $30. I'm telling you, back in the day, like a $1 could get you so much. Probably, you know what I mean. Like you would like actually carry around pennies, because you could probably get something for a penny, or for like 50 pennies. You know,
It's
what
pretty
I mean?
crazy to think about it right now, huh?
Well, inflation. You know what I'm saying. So Dorothy walked from her home, which was on the 70. Yeah,
Carrying a stack.
a stack. Well, it wasn't a stack. It was like,
700, 800 probably.
but it was just 2 bills or something.
But still.
So she walked from her home, which was on the 79th Street, to the park in Tilford store on the corner of the 5th Avenue and 59th Street. So 5th Avenue, as you know, is a very fancy street in New York. Probably the fanciest street in New York. Fifth
Actually, I have
Avenue.
no idea.
You
But
don't know Fifth
nope.
Avenue? It's like the fanciest. It's like right connected to the Central Park.
Oh,
It's,
and they're selling luxury brands.
I believe so. It's like very, very expensive street. So she walked there. So she went to the store, Park in Tilford. I actually tried finding it right now, how it looks like. It's nowhere to be seen, so I just assume it's no longer around. This happened, 100 years ago, so that's not a surprise. She charged a half a pound box of chocolates to her account at approximately 12 p.m. So basically, as I understand, when she walked in, the people who were manning the store, which I believe was some sort of a chocolate reseller or, like a fancy like foods store, they recognized her and they just put the chocolates that she purchased on the family tab so she didn't have to pay. And she just,
Jeez, how fancy that is. I'm so sorry. I'm just fascinated at it.
yeah, I've never heard anyone doing that like in real life. I only heard stories of like people putting something on the tab.
Yeah, welcome to a fancy chocolate shop wherein one would cost you $100 for today's money. Well, just put it in your family's tab. No
Maybe it
worries.
wouldn't cost $100, but I bet in Fifth Avenue they're probably not selling like Mr.
$2.
Mr. Beast Feastables. They're probably selling some top-notch chocolate.
High end.
Yeah. Afterwards, she walked 2 blocks, which is around 1.5 mile south to Brentano's bookstore. Sneeze break. Okay, going back. So she walked.
You have to cut that one out.
Yeah, I will.
That was a loud sneeze.
No, the sneeze is cut out. Don't worry about it. So she walked after leaving the grocery store with the fancy chocolates. She walks 22 blocks, which is 1.5 miles south to Brentano's bookstore on the 27th Street and 5th Avenue. And then within that bookstore, she purchased a book called Engaged Girl Sketches. Okay, she buys a book called Engaged Girl Sketches. I tried looking into it a little bit, what this book is all about. So apparently it's just a book from back in the day. And it's all about women at different women, different short stories about different women at different like situations regarding their marriage. So some stories were about women happily getting married, some others realizing that they're not really into the guy anymore. So it's like, I guess it's like a very like a
Short love stories?
short, not necessarily love stories, but like maybe
Drama?
kind of like picturing girls and stuff. And I don't know, I feel like it's a girly book. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I was...
Would you
if
read
I
that?
would buy it. Not necessarily, no.
Well, I'm sure someone would buy it though. Anyways, the clerks at the bookstore told later on police that Dorothy did not seem unusual at all. So far, we have no indication that she's gonna do something weird because nobody sees her doing anything strange. She's just going about her day. After she left the store, she eventually, I think shortly after, ran into a friend named Gladys King. Gladys King was a female friend of hers who was also a person who was invited to her sister's Marjorie's debutante party. So I feel like this person, Gladys King, was also from a rich background. So just another rich girlfriend that she ran into in New York City. Now, Gladys King told the media and police that when she spoke to Dorothy in that particular moment, Dorothy seemed completely normal. She seemed nice. She didn't seem stressed or anything seemed off. But they couldn't talk for too much because Gladys had an appointment to go have lunch with her mother. So she had to excuse herself. And then Dorothy told Gladys that, okay, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to go back home. And she said that she's going to walk through Central Park to get home. So she was going to like go into Central Park and then go back home. That's what she told Gladys.
Oh, wait. I thought she was supposed to buy an evening dress.
This is a very good observation, because
What happened to that?
actually this is what I was going to mention next. There is no record of her ever attempting to buy a dress. So she literally just went to buy some chocolates, went to buy a book about apparently engaged young girls.
I mean, it sounds like the title is pretty odd, but maybe the way they use the language back then is different. Is it like engaged in a way, engaged to be married, or
Yes.
like personally engaged in
No,
something? Oh,
the first one.
oh. And now I'm thinking, is it like a guide to like engagement, elopement, or marriage, or is it more of like,
No, it's just a description of girls who are engaged. Some of them are happy, some of them are realizing they may have made a mistake.
it's weird? Would I buy it?
No, of course you wouldn't buy it.
No, because I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. She was having, well, seems like a day that I would also have if I'm like uber rich. I'll just wake up late, I'll go out at 11,
Get some
get
chocolates.
some fancy chocolate, put it on the family tab, walk to his bookstore, buy a book. Will I buy that book particularly?
Would you buy it if everything's okay?
Yeah, if it's just I'm just being me, like happy go lucky.
If you're not, let's say, feeling like you're about to do some self-harm.
Yeah, or like do run away from my family, basically.
Yeah. That's a good way of thinking about it.
Because so far it seems like a normal rich girl.
So would you buy it?
That's the thing. I don't know if it's a romance book.
It's not I read the description. It's not a romance book. It's literally just a really strange concept of depicting different women's situations about getting married. It's not like lovey-dovey story,
Oh, well then no.
because
I'm
it's a
thinking-
strange concept.
I'm thinking if it's a romance book, then most likely a mid-20s woman would buy it. But if it's just specifically about engaged descriptions of women, then that's pretty weird. That's a pretty weird purchase.
It's a strange one. So apparently she walks away from Gladys, turns around and waves and walks into, I believe, the direction of Central Park, and she's never seen again. So in the afternoon, during dinner, Dorothy doesn't show up home. Her family is worried about her. They first don't want to call police because they don't want this to get out into the public that, this prominent guy's like daughter is missing. They didn't want that bad publicity. That's how Francis was looking at it. I know it's pretty strange. Anyways, so the first thing they do, one of the sons, so one of the brothers of Dorothy, I can't remember who, had a friend named John S. Keith. So let's just call him John Keith, right? Who was apparently a lawyer. He was also probably pretty young, in his 20s. He maybe just graduated. He was kind of like a lawyer / private investigator type of guy. So one of the siblings of Dorothy told Francis probably like, I have a guy who could take a look. Maybe we could figure out before law enforcement needs to get involved. So John Keith shows up to the family home, and he first looks at Dorothy's bedroom, and he found that nothing was missing. All of the items were still there, other than her clothes and maybe her purse that she took to walk or whatever. John Keith also found personal letters with foreign postmarks in her bedroom. So I'm not sure exactly what those letters mean.
Our girl had a pen pal.
Pen pal, she was, but it was foreign postmarks. I think this will make sense later on. John Keith also found two folders for transatlantic ocean liners. So, back in the day, there were no planes. You can't just fly to Europe or whatever. You would have to take a ocean liner, like a ship, like Titanic. You know what I'm saying? That's what you had to do back in the day. So they found the folders of these ocean liners. So indication that maybe Dorothy Arnold was secretly behind her family's acknowledgement, looking at a potential trip to Europe. So that's interesting, right? And they also found some burned papers in her fireplace. It wasn't ever, I think, determined what kind of papers did Dorothy burn in the fireplace, but it was assumed that these could have been the rejected short stories that she wrote for McClure's. Any other ideas what she could be burning?
A letter from her lover, that foreign postcard lover.
Yeah, so we're about to get into that lover in a little bit. There was a guy who may have played a role in one way or another. So stay tuned for that. So John Keith, after taking a look at the case, he knew like I can't help you anymore. So he told Francis, Dorothy's father, to contact a private investigator team called Pinkerton's investigators, who are, like more professional than him with more experience. So these guys came in and they immediately theorized that Dorothy might have gotten married with a man in Europe behind her family's back.
I love it. I'm so sorry. I just have to say, I love it. Like a group of men immediately looking at the woman's bedroom, like married,
Got married in
got
Europe.
married.
But they did search marriage records all over Europe, or at least all over the most common destinations, and nothing really came about. They couldn't find Dorothy Arnold's record anywhere. So after Keith and John Keith and the Pinkerton investigators, after they could not find Arnold, they persuaded her father to contact the New York City Police Department. At first, apparently, Francis didn't want to contact the police, but eventually he was like, okay, I'll talk to the police.
That is so weird, though, because it's your daughter missing.
He seems like he cares about his reputation more than the daughter, which is strange. You know what I'm saying?
Really strange.
Makes you think what kind of relationship Dorothy had with the father.
Probably a little bit distant.
Seems so, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the father was spending time with the sons more.
Yeah, well, you're gonna inherit the business, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe he didn't look at Dorothy as a suitable candidate to take over the business.
But then again, like,
The beeswax.
that's your daughter, man. Like, I don't know. I would have called the police immediately. Screw the reputation.
That's why I'm thinking. That's why I have this picture of Francis Arnold in my head, of this like hard nosed business guy, 72, still working. You know what I mean? He's
I just have to say, 72, and Dorothy was what, 25?
25. Yeah. So he had her at like what, 50 something.
Jeez.
Anyways, so he's still working, still putting in the hours. You know what I mean? The work is his life. All right, so another sneeze break. Now, that's how I imagine Francis. A rich guy who's like into his work. You know what I'm saying? During the press conference, reporters asked Francis if it was a possibility that his daughter was still alive and had just ran away with another man, as he did not allow his daughter to date. Now, Francis was like...
She was 25. Sorry. And she wasn't allowed to date?
So let's hear out what Francis has to say about that.
Okay, sorry for the
No,
abrupt reaction.
No, it's okay. So Francis immediately denied that question. He said, I would have been glad to see her associate with more with young men that she would associate more with young men that she did, especially some young men of brains and position, one whose profession or business would keep him occupied. I don't approve of young men who have nothing to do. So reporters eventually discovered that what Francis was specifically talking about was a man that Dorothy was seeing right before she went missing. This man was George Griscom Jr., a man that Dorothy had met while studying in college. And let's remember that she finished college 5 years before she vanished. So she was aware of George Griscom for a long time. And she was romantically involved with him. I don't know exactly since when, but at least we know that George Griscom and Dorothy, they have knew each other for like almost a decade before Dorothy vanished. So it was probably a man who she had a pretty strong connection or relationship with. Now, George Griscom, though, was on a different age level. He wasn't 25, he was 40. He was 40 and he came from a rich Pennsylvania family that lived in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so what was that about? Like, why was the dad angry about it? The guy's rich.
Exactly. Actually, you probably read my brains right now because that's also I was thinking. Why is the dad all mad here? Maybe it's because the guy's 40 and he's like
Yeah.
maybe just being a rich guy. But like,
I mean, he's already rich. I mean, their kids are gonna be rich anyways.
uh, I'm actually interested. Are any of these people still rich?
I mean, I haven't heard of the company, the beeswax company.
No, it's not the beeswax.
Was it?
It wasn't the beeswax.
You mentioned beeswax.
It was something just stupid that I said
Oh.
randomly. It wasn't the
And it's
beeswax.
stuck. It got stuck in there.
No. Anyways, for
But
one,
have you heard of this company?
no, never.
It didn't survive.
Potentially, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, at one time, apparently George Griscom and Dorothy were calling themselves engaged to like other friends.
Engage woman sketches. Is
Yeah,
that the reason why she got the book?
I don't know. Maybe to look at herself. Do I look like one of these chicks?
Oh, were these sketches? I always thought
No,
it's like short stories
short
with a little
stories,
bit of
short stories. Yeah, like
Oh.
don't take it so dire. Like,
Sorry.
you know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, so apparently in September, which was what, like 3 months before Dorothy vanished in September of 1910. Dorothy apparently lied to her parents and told them that she was going to visit a former uh, college classmate in Boston, but instead she spent a week in a hotel with Griscom in Boston. Okay, so she lied to her parents, and I think later on they figured out that she was lying, and she actually didn't go spend time with a classmate. She was kind of like secretly behind the parents' back, going to see Griscom. I have a little bit more information about this particular event. So apparently, Griscom, he arrived in September to Hotel Essex in Boston. And then on the morning of Dorothy's arrival, he had changed hotels. So apparently, he went first to the hotel in Boston, but then he later relocated to a hotel named Hotel Lennox in Boston, where he reserved a room and bath for Dorothy. So, they were probably doing something there.
How scandalous.
Yeah, super scandalous. So they took a bath there. They probably, what I'm saying, did something there.
It's a week. Of course they did.
Yeah, they did something in the hotel, right? So during the following week, the two were seen together constantly in Boston, looking animated and happy. They made no effort to hide their identities or their presence in Boston. At the Lenox Hotel, Dorothy registered under her real name with the correct New York address. 2 days before leaving Boston, she visited a pawn shop on Boylston Street, obtaining $60 for $500 worth of assorted personal jewelry. So she basically just used the pawn shop to kind of fund her trip a little bit. So makes you think that she probably didn't have a lot of money on her own. So I would assume that if Dorothy needed to go somewhere, she would have to ask parents
Dad.
from dad for money. So we have to think that maybe she was from a rich family, but she didn't have her own money. Like money came from the parents.
Yeah, if she had to pawn her jewelry to fund that trip, yeah, definitely.
Exactly right. Either way, this is interesting because we could assume that Griscom and Dorothy they probably did, like some relations. Let's put it that way in the hotel, and it's important
Before
for
marriage, it
yeah.
wasn't that scandalous back then.
I don't know, man. Anyways, that's important for us because of one of the theories that we'll later kind of talk about. Yeah,
I have a question.
of course.
Were they ever engaged, like formally engaged to be married?
No, not at all. Because after Dorothy returned home and eventually the parents found out about this little rendezvous that they had in Boston, and apparently that Dorothy was lying to them about meeting some classmate, they forbade her to ever talk to this guy again and even have a relationship.
Yeah, I don't get it.
But that didn't stop Dorothy.
Of course not.
Griscom and Dorothy actually saw each other for a final time in early November. So a couple months after.
Before she vanished, no?
A couple months. No, let's say a month before she vanished, and a couple of months after the Boston, hotel room adventures. And it's important to know, you know why?
Why?
You know why? Because, okay, I'm just going to jump to it. One theory suggests that Dorothy was pregnant and she potentially was going to receive a
Can we say it on YouTube?
the A word.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not even gonna risk it. I'm just gonna. Of course we can, but abortion. Okay, she was about to receive abortion.
Sorry, just sounds so weird.
It's okay, man.
Sounds like a soup.
It does sound a bit like a soup.
The Russian soup.
Anyways, there's a theory that maybe she went on to have abortion, and it didn't go well. But the timeline kind of works out here because if they do some spicy stuff in September, by November she might see signs, and they might talk her out. And then she's kind of on the fence about it. Maybe Griscom, he's 40. He's like, man, I don't want kids right now. And he's like, I don't want to do it. And then she's like spending the next month behind the parents' back looking for abortion clinics, but the ones that will do it, under the books, under the table.
I would give the guy a benefit of the doubt, and I would say maybe it's not him. Maybe Dorothy was afraid of her parents because maybe the parents' reaction when she told them the truth was pretty terrible. What more about the fact that she could have been pregnant?
You probably wouldn't fly.
Yeah, probably get kicked out.
Or something like that.
Out of the will.
Out of the will, out of everything. This would affect her greatly.
But
her
then
lifestyle.
again, the dude's rich. The guy's rich.
But maybe he also doesn't want it.
Oh, yeah, potentially. And she was left with no other choice.
But this is a complete speculation. There's absolutely nothing else to indicate. Well, there's one thing we'll jump into.
I could see it happening, honestly. It was a normal day. She was out alone. Maybe she, I don't know, sneaked into one of the clinics before going back home, but never did.
Maybe. I'm just thinking, wouldn't doing the abortion procedure take more than just an afternoon?
No, I think it's pretty quick. Probably an hour or so, maybe.
Oh, okay. I have no idea. But then, then that would make a
I
lot
don't
more
know much
sense.
about it, but I do think it's like an outpatient thing. You don't need to.
Okay,
The under the table ones.
yeah, I have no idea how it works. So, hope maybe it's like a short thing. Anyways, now I will mention a few things before we jump into the theories. Like, it's coming up, guys. Don't worry about it. I know it's been a long podcast, but hopefully you guys are enjoying this. So please sit back and grab a drink. We're approaching like the turning point here. So there was another strange situation around the Thanksgiving holiday. So, wait, sneeze break. All right, so the strange thing I'm talking about is something weird happened in the timeline around Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is in late November, as you know. So this is really shortly before she disappears, just weeks before she disappears. Apparently, Dorothy decided to visit her former classmate Theodora Bates, and this time it was for real. It was a real thing, and somehow her parents let her go. I think maybe this could be before they found out that she lied about that whole Boston thing, or maybe afterwards. I'm not sure, but somehow they let her go to meet up with Theodora on Thanksgiving weekend. Now Theodora was living in Washington, D.C., so still on the East Coast, and she was working as a teacher. So Dorothy arrived at Theodora's home late Wednesday night, and on the Thanksgiving morning, she expressed a desire to stay in bed. So Theodora was okay. I guess Dorothy just wants to stay in because, they were supposed to have like a girlfriend weekend or whatever, as I understand. And apparently something very bizarre happened at Theodora's apartment. In the morning, a bulky envelope was delivered for Dorothy at Theodora's house, which is kind of strange, you know what I mean? How would anyone delivering this piece of mail know that Dorothy is actually at Theodora's place, not, and she didn't receive this mail in her usual mailbox back home. So it was a bit strange. Also, it was Thanksgiving Day when apparently businesses were all closed down and no daily mail was delivered on that day. So, once again, who is actually delivering this and what is in that envelope for Dorothy? There's an opportunity or a chance that Dorothy may have requested the General Post Office in New York to forward her mail over the weekend to Theodora's home, but it's unlikely that this would have been done with such exceptional dispatch, even if she had left postage for special delivery, nor did Dorothy ever speak of knowing anyone in Washington who might have brought the package to Theodora's door. Yet the package did arrive somehow. And Theodora always maintained the assumption that it came by regular United States mail. So someone in the United States mail apparently worked overtime on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? I don't know how that would work. And when Theodora accepted the package, she brought it to Dorothy. She's like, "Yo, Dorothy, you got the package at my home. It's a bulky envelope." And Dorothy apparently just ignored it. She threw it on the bed and she, just kept staying in the bed. She didn't even look at it. So, what Theodora assumed, she assumed that it was another rejection. It was the second rejection by McClure's about her second short story. But it was never really confirmed.
I mean, if I submitted something and I'm waiting if it was rejected or approved, I would have opened the letter immediately.
Maybe she knew it. Maybe she kind of didn't want to ruin her mood.
Oh yeah, potentially, yeah.
You don't
Ruin
want
the whole Thanksgiving
Yeah.
weekend, yeah.
So on Friday, Dorothy further astounded Theodora, as I don't know exactly if it's the same day as the as the time when is this the same day when she received the package, or it's the second day? I don't really know. But on Friday, Dorothy apparently she packed up her things and she left Theodora's home to go back home. Now Theodora was surprised because she thought that she was gonna stay there over the weekend until Monday, but Dorothy just left on Friday. She was like, "Nope, I always wanted to go back home on Friday." So it was a bit strange. And when she
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
it's pretty weird, and it's also weird because when she came back home to New York, her mother was like, also like, "Oh, you're back. I thought you were staying until Monday," and she was like, "Nope, I always wanted to go back on Friday." So what? Why are we even talking about this? And I think I know why. What is happening here? I think what's happening here is that maybe Dorothy used Theodora's home as a post delivery location. She was only visiting her until she gets the package. And once she got the package, whatever's in the package, once she got it, she was like,
Bye.
Arrivederci. And she left. Maybe
What was in that package?
we don't know. It's a package. It's a secret package.
Package.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so we never knew, and it was never further explained what's in the package. Now, she spent the rest of the Thanksgiving weekend at home. She was apparently being herself. She was reading, sewing, doing regular activities.
Actually, at this point, I'm so impressed with this girl. Like, she managed to hide so many things. I mean, it's pretty unfortunate that she was never found, but it's like, this is the same chick who hid the fact that she was with her lover for a week.
Yeah. So now let's jump to the time when everything has already played out. And Dorothy's officially a missing woman. Griscom, her lover, well, he was actually when I mentioned you the fact that they met the last time, when we think that maybe there's a chance that she started noticing signs of pregnancy. Well, that's a complete speculation, right? So after that meeting in November, we don't know what they talked about, or maybe it was just a regular meeting about nothing, just being lovey-dovey. Griscom, the 40-year-old lover, he actually went with his parents to Florence, Italy for a multi-month vacation. They just kind of went to Florence. I think they booked a hotel and they were staying there for a month, you know what I mean? Doing some rich stuff back in the day. And after Dorothy went missing, Dorothy's parents and one of her siblings, they contacted him, and they even also set out to Italy to speak to him personally, to Griscom, ask him if he knows anything about Dorothy's disappearance, because he's naturally the first person that comes to mind to whom you should speak in this circumstance. He denied knowing her whereabouts and claimed that he has no recollection of her disappearance. And when asked if they could see any of the letters that they had been exchanging between one another, because they found, envelopes with postmarks, foreign postmarks in Dorothy's room, they probably assumed that those were from Griscom. And he said that, I destroyed all of the letters that Dorothy sent me because they weren't, valuable. There was nothing important there. So all of the letters that apparently Dorothy was sending him, he probably destroyed it or something like that.
Ouch.
I mean, that's what he said. We don't know. Maybe he was lying.
He was definitely lying. Or maybe not. It's either like he didn't really care at all or he was lying.
That's true. Right? Bless you. One more? No? Just one sneeze? Okay. All good, no worries. So, one of the letters, though, was interesting, and I'm gonna... I found it. So, eventually, I don't know exactly how this happened, but apparently one of Dorothy's brothers, the one who approached Griscom in Italy. I think there's a situation where he at one point punched Griscom, punched him in the face, and he said, "Give me the damn letters, give me the letters." And Griscom apparently gave him a letter. He gave him a letter. There was a letter that Griscom gave him, and apparently in the letter there was an intriguing last paragraph, and it states this, and this is from Dorothy to Griscom. "Well, it has came back. McClure's has turned me down again. All I can see ahead is a long road with no turning. Mother will always think an accident has happened." And that's how it ends. Mother will always think an accident has happened. So how a lot of people think about this one is that maybe she was telling Griscom that she was gonna run away to start a new life, and her mother will think that, oh, some sort of an accident happened, she drowned, but she will run away and start a new life.
Could it be interpreted in a way that accident meant pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy?
Mother will always think an accident has happened. All I can see ahead is a long road with no turning. And let's imagine that she's pregnant and she says, all I can see is a long road. Yeah, like pregnancy with no turning. Maybe she's...
And a little accident happened. Unexpected pregnancy.
No,
and
I
their
don't...
family is so into their reputation.
Oh, maybe. But how I'm thinking about it, is there a chance that she's saying a long road with no turning means that she's gonna have the baby?
Maybe.
A long road ahead with no turning.
But we're also talking about the rejection.
Yeah, rejection about McClure's. No, I don't think she's talking about the pregnancy here. I think she's legit talking about just the short stories.
What's the accident about, though?
Mother will always think an accident has happened. So
why so vague?
Accident has happened.
And come on, maybe this is the only letter that he gave because it's the most vague. Where are the other letters?
I think what Dorothy means is that maybe she's legit thinking about running away from being made fun of by the family. You know?
Potentially, yeah.
Anyways, some sightings and nothing really happened, and Griscom apparently didn't have anything to do with it, or they didn't find anything connecting him to her disappearance, so I guess they kind of laid off him. But there were some sightings, and the first sighting came in Italy. I don't think it's valid, but I'll quickly give you the info. In February of 1911, so a month after her disappearance, well, maybe 2 months after her disappearance, news media, San Francisco Chronicle, reported that clerks at the Angelo American Hotel in Italy, where Griscom was staying with his family during the vacation, had seen a veiled woman they believed to be Dorothy Arnold. According to staff, Griscom and the veiled woman had an earnest talk they could not hear, and that the woman appeared greatly agitated. I believe it was just someone telling some fake story to a newspaper and getting a quick buck. What do you think? Is there a chance that Dorothy actually went there? I mean, maybe I'm just, maybe it's correct. I don't know.
I agree with you. I think it's just maybe a random person or just a random...
trying to get some money.
A random sighting, yep.
Yeah, using their employment circumstances to get more money.
Maybe it's real. Maybe they did see a veiled woman, but maybe it's just a random person.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's another strange thing. Francis Arnold was already kind of weird. A weird dad. Things get even weirder. So Francis Arnold told the press that he believed from the start that his daughter had been attacked and killed while walking home through Central Park, and that her body had been thrown into the Central Park reservoir. He cited two personal clues why he believes that his daughter was killed in Central Park, but those clues were never made public. He had some few personal clues.
Well, I wouldn't put it past us, actually, because that was my first year as well. She was a rich socialite, young woman at that, very easy to, I don't know, drag, to abduct. And maybe she was wearing something flashy. She had a lot of money with her. She was walking around alone. So I wouldn't even think that it's not a possibility. On the contrary, I think it could be one of the best theory, I guess.
Why it's strange is because, it's like a strange thing coming from a father of a missing child. It's like, oh, she's dead. I know she's dead. They threw her in a reservoir. Even though later police dismissed this reservoir theory because in the days leading up to her disappearance, the temperature in New York City had dropped below freezing level and the reservoir had frozen solid. So it's like the dad's pushing that she's murdered. She's gone. The dad's not even trying to find Dorothy. She's like, oh, she's dead.
I mean, it's easier for his reputation.
To say that she's dead, then she's like missing. But then that's cold. He's a cold ass guy.
Yeah.
He's a really cold guy. If that's the case, this guy is cold. Investigators received calls from people across the United States who had apparently claimed to have seen Dorothy. All of those calls were investigated but proven to be false. The family also received two ransom notes from alleged kidnappers who demanded upwards of 5 stacks for Dorothy's return. So back in the day money, so that's a lot of money. Nothing came out of that. Apparently, it was all fake. In early February of 1911, so basically 2 months after her disappearance, apparently Arnold's father received a postcard signed by Dorothy, bearing a New York City postmark that read, "I am safe." So he basically said that he believes that it was a fake letter sent as a prank to him, even though the writing style kind of matched Dorothy's writing style. However, Dorothy's writing style had been previously published in the media, so someone could have just copied it. So I'm also assuming that it wasn't Dorothy who sent "I am safe."
How cold it is to send that letter to a grieving family.
Yeah, I mean, why would you ever do that? It's kind of stupid.
Very stupid. And for what reason?
And then the last sighting was a strange San Francisco sighting. Again, San Francisco, just like the San Francisco Chronicle, seems like a lot of like shady sightings are like connected to somehow to San Francisco. So in San Francisco, also in February, so 2 months after the disappearance, apparently a jeweler in San Francisco claimed that a woman he recognized as Dorothy had him engrave a diamond wedding ring for her on January 7th, which would make this a month after her disappearance, with the inscription to AJA from ERB. Bless you. So from to AJA from ERB. It doesn't match any of the people in this story so far. So I think maybe this guy just got it confused.
Or maybe it's just a random chick.
A random chick similar.
Yeah.
I think it's probably. And now finally it has come to the turning point. It's been a long podcast, but I had a fun time talking about this case so far.
Yeah, I just have to say though, I did not expect this to be a long podcast. I thought it was gonna be a quick one because it seems like an easy case.
But now comes a good point. Everyone who's listening to us, do you want us to do long podcasts or short podcasts?
Maybe we could mix it up.
No, I want specifically like some people's opinion. It would be nice to like do a poll somewhere, maybe on YouTube. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Long podcast, or is this nice, or do you want us to kind of like
A
nice
shorter one, a more casual
a,
one.
a quick and I mean this is casual.
Yeah,
I feel
but
like
this is like
no, I feel like if you do it longer, then it's gonna be casual.
a shorter, you meant.
No, shorter is not gonna be casual because
Just gonna be a storytelling.
it's gonna be like very direct because we like kind of go off the script a little bit. We like
We
don't.
basically just talk about the case and some other things.
Yeah, exactly. So is this something you would? Because I'm thinking maybe a longer thing is nice for the people because I think when you listen to a podcast, you're like doing something on the side usually, or you're trying to sleep or something like that. You know what I mean? Or you're driving somewhere.
Either way, we feel honored if you blast us in the background while vacuuming.
Oh man, I would love that. Leave your thoughts. But now let's jump to the theories. So there are a few theories here floating around. So the first theory is that maybe she slipped on an icy sidewalk, and
Where's the body, though?
maybe she struck her head and was taken to a hospital with total amnesia.
Nah, this sounds like a romance novel. I don't buy it.
And they looked into all of the uh, hospitals in the area, and there were no women matching her description.
Yeah, no, I really don't buy this. Like, randomly slipped, had an amnesia, and just disappeared on the face of the earth. Nah.
Another theory that was quickly lost popularity, right, was that she was drugged and abducted. It was late. It was thought that it's impossible because she vanished from one of the most busiest streets in America, in the world. It's probably like the last place you would get abducted from or like drugged. Her lover Griscom theorized that she had died by self-harm,
Well, that's interesting.
and she said that she had died from self-harm because of a failing writing career.
I think her day was a little too normal at that. Because, people who intend to do self-harm, they do some sort of closure. Even just a hint.
Not all of them.
I mean, maybe say
Not all
goodbye
of them.
to the sister or something.
We had cases in the past that we talked about where I can't recall. So I remember there was someone in like Canada we talked about. I forgot the name of the woman.
Just
She seemed like she had a normal day, but we assumed that she has committed self harm. I forgot the name.
oh,
So it's not always. And then I think that woman was last seen at a coffee shop or something similar as like a
oh yeah, I
bookstore.
remember.
So no. I don't think we need to immediately jump to the conclusion that every self harm has a goodbye note.
Or like something, because it seems a little too normal. Like she talked with a friend. She had a plan to buy an evening dress for her
Which
sister's.
she never bought. She never even attempted.
Yeah, it could have been a lie.
And she already said that she's walking home. When she talked to Gladys King, she already told her she's
Well,
going
yeah.
home. You know what I mean? She never even mentioned the dress to Gladys.
Okay, what about the book then? Seems like very normal
Yeah,
thing to do.
or maybe not. It's like about engagements. She was in the process of being in a relationship with Griscom. Griscom is in Italy now. He's 40, maybe sleazy, maybe she's pregnant.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm saying
yeah.
there's
Okay,
a
now
lot
I
of
could see
happening
it. Yep.
things. No. It's like it doesn't have to be like a stereotypical self
There are
harm.
signs. There were signs.
And there might not be any signs.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what's happening in the person's head. So
That's true.
I think it could be valid theory that she committed self harm because of the writing career. Now, some other family members stated that she may have committed self harm not because of the writing career, but because of her relationship with Griscom that wasn't developing in the way that she wanted to.
Okay, yeah. If we're like, going with the self-harm theory, where's the body? Jumped in the river?
Oh man, the body could be anywhere.
Oh.
The body could be at the bottom of the ocean.
Actually, you're convincing me that this
No,
could
the
have been
body,
self
the
harm.
body could be anywhere, man. The body could be literally anywhere. Uh, there's also a theory that she may have taken one of these kind of like these ferries that went from on this on the water from New York to Boston. There's also like a theory, okay, that she took it. You apparently don't even need to provide personal ID to go on it. You just buy a ticket and you jump on it. So she could have just bought it. And apparently, some people were doing self harm by jumping off of those things.
Oh, jeez.
So that was something that did happen, and she could have easily gotten on that ferry and jumped. So she had opportunity to commit self harm. Another theory is that maybe she became pregnant and she sought an abortion. She sought abortion. Okay, I'm gonna cut that one out, and it's gonna just be abortion. She maybe sought it, was trying to get it, and she died during or after a botched procedure, and had been secretly buried and cremated. And why this is like crazy? This sounds crazy, like, but back in the day, there were apparently facilities providing that particular procedure to women under the books. What do you think? Well, I don't know if you can think anything because there was something that actually happened in 1916. So this is literally like 2 years after, or sorry, 6 years after. An illegal abortion clinic operating out of the basement of a home in Bellevue, Pennsylvania, which was kind of on the East Coast, but it's already like a long drive. It's like I think a multi-day travel, so there was no way that she was just getting it like right there after going to Central Park. Anyway, so this is a faraway location in a whole different state on the other side of Pennsylvania, actually on the west side of Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is a big state, so you have to cover some ground to get there in theory. So 6 years after her disappearance, there was an illegal abortion clinic that was raided by police. The clinic was ran by a man named C.C. Meredith. Yeah, C.C. Meredith, and became notoriously known as the House of Mystery of Beauville, Pennsylvania, after numerous women from the area went missing after visiting this clinic. Okay, and one of the doctors who worked at the clinic, Dr. Lutz, H.E. Lutz, he testified to the New York County District Attorney that Dr. Meredith told him that Dorothy Arnold had died in this mystery house after experiencing complications from an procedure. And then H.E. Lutz, the man who told this to authorities, he claimed that, like many of the women who had undergone the procedure at this clinic and died, Dorothy's remains were most likely burned in the furnace.
This is really creepy. Maybe we could cover this in one of our shorter
No.
episodes. The
Oh,
mysteries?
maybe, but there's no information about it.
Oh.
And I don't know if you have the file open, but I have pictures of this house. And this house, I want you to look at the pictures of this. I'm gonna show these pictures on the YouTube. I mean, it's kind of a eerie
Oh
picture.
my gosh, it's so creepy.
Do
I
you
just
see it?
have to say, yeah, it's
It's a lone,
up a hill.
big three-story house on a hill, and there's nothing there. Just this hill. It looks like or like something from the Resident Evil games. It's just a hill where they do a do the procedure, and if you die, apparently you can die easily back in the day or
I mean, you could
something
die easily now. I mean, not as easily,
from the
but
procedure. Because I never hear anyone dying from the procedure
no,
anymore.
like pregnancy complications. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, apparently, look, they died and they would burn them in the
And
furnace.
there was a furnace underneath.
Yeah, and you see and there's a furnace image.
Yeah.
You see the furnace?
Uh-huh.
And that's the furnace, man.
Oh my gosh, this is horrific.
And that's the furnace where many women have been burnt.
This is so creepy. And the fact that, who was that guy again? One of the doctors mentioned that Dorothy was there.
Meredith, the guy who ran the place.
Mm-hmm. The guy who ran the place mentioned that Dorothy was there. Yeah, it's really creepy. And they didn't have any records because it was
No.
illegal.
No.
Jeez. So the women who died in there were just, we'll never know about them.
Nope. Or maybe, I mean, I tried looking for more information, but there's nothing.
Creepy.
So this is where we stand on the case. And honestly, I don't know what happened to Dorothy.
I think you somehow convinced me that it was either self-harm or this,
This clinic,
yeah, this botch operation.
I have problems with this clinic because
How come?
it's far away. And she literally wasn't like she was, hanging out. Maybe she was waiting for like a train to go to Pennsylvania.
Potentially, could she have made that trip back and forth?
No, no way. It's like a multi-day thing. It's like on the other side of Pennsylvania. I just don't see how. No, no way, no way. And she didn't tell her parents. She could have lied about it.
Like, I'm gonna visit a friend again for a whole weekend or something.
Yeah. Maybe she somehow got in contact with these people and they told her, well, you could come here now. And then she was so desperate for it. But, no one really said that she was desperate. No one mentioned it. She was being herself.
Once again, you mentioned that we don't know for sure what's happening inside a person's head.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
could have been the case, but yeah, I agree that the distance might have been a little bit of a complication.
Because then she's definitely not coming back on the same day. So she would be a missing person regardless. Maybe she was only intended to be missing for a few days and come back.
But then again, she never did it before, and she would always lie, like, or at least have this intricate web of like.
So I think the big question is the CC Meredith lying? Is the CC lying? Is CC lying?
For what though?
I don't know.
Popularity purposes?
Maybe. No, not CC. Sorry, Lutz, because Lutz was testifying. So I think maybe he's trying to get a better deal for himself with police.
I don't get it. For what? Like, oh yeah, the Dorothy was here. Give me 5 years less.
Yeah, that's why.
I don't get it.
What do you mean?
I don't get like how come if Dorothy was there, or at least if he lied, then he would have had a lesser sentence.
Yeah, I mean,
to help out.
Yeah.
With information, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as it gets, right?
I just don't get it. It's still like a dead person.
I mean,
anyways,
you want to get out of jail quick.
Okay, so for me, it's either self-harm or that botched abortion.
Well, I mean,
Or
I think that's what it is for everyone.
It's true. Or also could have been
a new life. How about
abduction?
New life?
Yeah, that one I don't buy it.
I don't buy it. I just don't see
how.
I just don't see how she would transition into a life without money, just like that.
Yeah, I was supposed to say that she went on a week-long trip with her rich lover, and she had to pawn jewelry for like $60.
So she didn't have the money.
It's already $60, and the day that she disappeared, she only had 30.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a lot, but I'm saying like for her standards.
Yeah.
And to start like a completely new life with just $30 for a rich woman, I think it's kind of like weird.
Weird, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just leaning towards, honestly, that I'm leaning towards that it was self-harm. Yeah, I'm leaning towards self-harm. I'm thinking about it. I think that the abortion, basically, I don't think it. I don't want to put too much weight about it because it's all speculation. There's no science. And she was depressed because she got rejected twice. Her family was teasing about her. Her friends were teasing about her, about the failures. So I think she committed self-harm. Yeah, that's what I think.
Well, what do you guys think?
Yeah, leave your thoughts. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. A very long podcast. I think it's time to wrap it up. Leave your thoughts. What do you think happened? And we will talk to you soon on the next one. Thank you for listening. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.